Good. All right, here we go. I'm sure this will be edited, so anything we say goofy, we won't let the world know, okay?
So Amanda edits this
Yeah,
thing.
she'll edit it. Look here, I got to take my coat off. Wow, everybody, this is my good friend, Wayne Justice. And you guys probably seen him on here. You've done sheetrocking.
We've done some sheetrocking up here with you, yeah.
And houses and stuff.
Yeah.
And look at us. We're talking about spur of the moment. We go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've asked Wayne to come on and do a show with us, and I hope you guys enjoy this. This is a dear friend of mine that I met in 1986.
86.
You know, it's 39 years ago.
39 years.
Oh my
Man,
God.
we're getting old, buddy.
Wow, time just goes.
I'm telling you.
So 39 years ago.
How about that?
Yeah, and so anyway, the reason we're bringing this is because Wayne has, I think our friendship has been unique. I think what we've been through has been unique, and I think it could encourage people who have been through a lot. Wayne has experienced some setbacks in his health lately, about 3 years ago, and I'm gonna let him talk about all that. But before we get into that, and it's been victorious, and we want to encourage everybody and share how he's fought this disease, right? Or you never want to say the word because you don't want to give it, energy.
Yeah.
But we want to tell everybody what's going on and say it, you know?
Right. Yeah, I'm dealing with cancer.
Yeah.
4 years ago, they found cancer. I started losing all my energy that you and I have always had. We were building a house. And man, my energy level just went down and down. And 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the evening, I'd be there with them boys, and they'd be working. And for an old man, I could still hang with them. And I just had to get down off the ladder and say, I'm done. So I went to the doctor, and my blood count was dropping. So that's how we found it.
Yeah.
And had surgery. And there's a whole story behind that we'll go into here. But
yeah. And you're 75.
I'll be 77 in April.
77 in April.
April 15th, yeah.
Wow.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we want, the biggest part of this story is about his journey of finding cancer and how he's fought this in a real unique way that I think might help you all and encourage you. And we just had an amazing friendship, and we don't want to spend hours because we could talk for days about what we've been through and the things we've done together and all that. But what I'd like to do is just kind of hit a little bit highlights of when we met and what we did, and then get into your stuff. And it's just amazing. So I want to share first of all is that, Wayne and I met at a church that we went to in Knoxville. I was coming down here, I was 26 years old, and I came down to Tennessee because I loved this area and I wanted to move here.
Yeah.
And I found a couple that were camping out in the Smoky Mountains when my wife and I were camping. And they invited us to stay in their home for a week. Yeah. And they said, hey, come to our church. We went to this church, and I walked in, and it was just like, we just fell in love with the whole place. We couldn't move down here quick enough.
Yeah.
And of course, that's where Wayne was, And so what I want to tell you is that a lot of this video is going to be about our faith that we have professed, as being Christians.
That's right.
And I never talk about religion on my show. I don't talk about faith. I don't talk about that. But with this show, it's warranted. It needs to be, because it's probably the whole basis of why you and I are friends.
It is.
And you're going to see Wayne and I are
we're bosom buddies.
We cry a lot and we laugh a lot, and you might hear all that today. But so when I come down here with my wife in '86 looking for a job and a home, and I was just so driven to live in this area of the United States. I was just like, there's something just drawing me here. And anyway, I went to your church, and when I walked in, the church, here's 300-400 people. And when after the service was over, all the way across the entire church, Wayne stands up, and you got to understand, I don't know who this guy is. I have never met him. We have not been cordially introduced, nothing. And I was talking to my wife, and for some reason, something grabbed my head, and I looked right over there, and there's Wayne standing up, and he's tall, so he was above everybody, and he caught my eye, and he caught my eye. And so we're both looking at each other across hundreds of people. And I remember, I don't know if you remember this or not, but he pointed back to the back of the church. We're in the vestibule, everybody's leaving. And I said, yeah, let's go. So we both walked back to the back and never had met each other. And when we walked up to each other, we both bawled and cried and hugged each other.
Yeah.
And it was like, I felt like I was coming to a brother that I knew. My heart, man, it was just like, wow.
Like we'd been friends our whole life.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was just now meeting. It was awesome. I do remember. And I do remember coming back there and how we just, it's just the Spirit of the Lord. You know, we're spirit beings, Randy, and we're talking some about Christianity here in this today. And man, there's in the Spirit, you and I we can be apart now. I can go away from you and not see you for weeks or a year. And when we come together, that same Spirit is there with us. And we reunite just like we did that particular day.
Yeah.
And man, it's been quite a walk. We became best buddies. And, and you're 12 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And God has always given me a bunch of young men in my life to keep me young. I'm young at heart anyway. Sandy said I kind of got a kid's heart. I like to laugh and carry on. My dad said I was kind of full of foolishness a little bit. But anyway, with all you young guys, I always said if they wanted to go jump off a bridge, I'd say, which bridge? I'll be there.
Yeah.
And Sandy said, you got to be careful. These boys going to get you killed.
Right.
So we done a lot of things. And then, of course, I ended up selling my house, bought some property from you, built a house up there, and we really became close. And that's a whole nother story, too.
Well, I wanted him with me wherever I went. And I had bought some land because I was teaching high school, and I bought 7 acres. And I thought, well, I want to start a family, and I wanted Wayne to help me raise whatever kids I hope that I was blessed with, that you would be around to help me raise them, because I wanted your character to be a part of them. You know, I was just dreaming about that. In order, we weren't able to have kids for a while after that. But that's how much I cared about you and respected you, and how much I just wanted to be around you, you know. And the thing about Wayne is, I'm going to tell you, is that when the way I need to be taught, or the way I need to be consoled, if you want something, you want my 100% of me, and you want me to perform 100%, I operate more from love than threats or hate, right? Like, you're going to threaten me. So I operate more with gentleness and love, and believe it or not, that's how I am. It's, you know, you wouldn't think that most men, you know, most men got to be beat. And I'm not that way. You beat me, I'm not gonna respond well. And that's the way Wayne has always been with me, you know. And an example is, you know, when I got out of teaching and I got into, he owned a sheetrock company, and it was just really you, me, and a couple guys in your company. And I didn't know how to do sheetrock. I didn't know how to finish it at all. Zero, you know. I had no carpentry skills. And he said, grab me some mud and put it on the wall and put some paper on there. And I said, okay. And I had been watching him for a while. And man, it was all over the place. I mean, I had mud cobbled up all over, and it was thick, and it was doing this. And he said, well, you just do the best you can. I'll come back and check on you. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, here I go. And I'm trying to go in and out like that. He'd come in and check on me 20 minutes later, and I said, what do you think? He goes, you know what, that looks real good. Let me just tighten that up a little bit. He said, let me just put a touch on it. He said, but it looks good. He would redo the whole thing, all right? And he said, you're doing awesome. He said, you just keep doing it.
Oh, wow.
And so I'd keep going. He'd come back behind me, but he was always encouraging. He never said, you big dummy, you don't know what you're doing. You just need to get on out of here and da-da-da-da-da, or you need to go do a doghouse first. I'm going to put you in the closet. Nope. He put me right in the living room, right where everybody would see everything, and I would be mudding, and he'd come back and redo the mud for me. And he said, you know what? You're catching on. It looks really good. It looks awesome. And I kept on, and within 6 months to 8 months, he did that every day with me, and I learned a trade.
Yeah.
And it was never one time a negative response to me. and you were always kind and encouraging, and I learned so much quicker in that environment.
Boy, well, I'm glad.
And I'll never forget it. I remember a buddy of mine, Wayne, Steve Yeager. Remember Crazy Steve?
Yeah, Yeager.
Yeager come up, and he's a lot wired like me.
Yeah.
And when he met you, he had a kind of a troubled relationship with his father. And when he met you, oh man, he just like, wow, where did Wayne come from? He said his gentleness and his sweet, kind spirit, he said, I just feel relaxed around him.
Wow.
And when I told him that, I said, that's what he's done for me. And him and I are quite wired, a lot alike in that aspect. And it just, that's why I'm saying, I want you around me all the time. It was just...
Yeah. Talking about Steve Yeager, you was building that house. I hadn't even met Steve Yeager. I'm over helping Randy one night. We got lights strung up, and he's got these big double windows he's framing in this house. Outside of the windows, there's dirt he's piled up where he dug the basement. I never forget, we were down, I think, sawing some logs with that big log saw you had working on a beam or something.
Yeah.
And the floor just come alive. And I looked up, I said, we're the only ones here. And I looked up, and this guy had on a yellow or orange or something, like swim hat and goggles. And it was Steve Yeager. I never had, he done a flip off of that dirt. He was and flipped through that open window. Yeah. I'm trying to find my hammer. I said, we got some kind of crazy guy.
Oh man, yeah. He had a rubber swim cap on and goggles. And it was dark, and he jumped through there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was.
But anyway,
we were fun. Man, we were young.
We've had all kinds of stories like that. I built that house out there, and Randy was living in a little shack while he was building. I moved a camper up there. I got the flu. My house froze up. He brought a space heater and put in a little old tiny trailer out there. About burned it down. But we've had all kinds of things like that. But we've stayed connected through the years, through the good and the bad, and there's been both.
Oh yeah, this is horrible. I don't want to get into the horrible things in my life, but we've been through it all, and there's always just been respect and encouragement and love. I went through some really hard times in my life, and I remember at that time, you and another friend came to see me, and you came and just cried. We cried at each other, and you told me you loved me. And that's all I needed to hear. I knew right from wrong. I knew what was going on. I knew what I was doing. I knew the situation, and all you wanted to do was love me. The other friend that didn't, he wanted to judge and correct and scold, and that's just his personality. Like I said, people are different, and you came in and loved, and that's all I wanted. I was so hurt in this situation, and I was so beside myself, and all I needed was somebody to hold me and tell me they love me, and that got me through it. And again, there you go again. Your love is what helped me get to my next level in life.
I remember that day we came, and I remember you and I having that conversation, and I said, we both know right and wrong and what's going on. But I think I said, I'm going to be your friend, and I'll love you whatever happens.
Yeah.
That'll never change. And we've held true to that, both of us.
That's all I needed, man.
And so we've traveled, but we've went on through the years and done different things as we traveled along. And then, of course, Randy started this tiny house thing. And I don't know, I already got out of the drywall business as a retirement when you started building in your backyard up there.
Yeah.
And I came up and piddled around on a shed or two, and then we hauled some sheds off. And there's some real stories behind that. We won't go into all that. And then you end up building the tiny houses, and we got one hung on the railroad track. Thought the train was going to hit it down there one day, but it just grew into this. And then my drywall business, I turned it over to family, some of their family, and I had a bad experience. He had some situations, and he bankrupted our business that I'd had for almost 40 years, I guess.
Wow.
And we had worked hard. We'd built into a pretty big company, had lots of guys working, had become successful. The Lord had blessed us so much, Randy. And kind of what happened with me and you, that's how I established that business. When I got to where I just didn't have to work night and day, I really did feel like that the Lord said, I need you to take care of my business, and I'm going to take care of yours. That's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah.
He did. I felt that in the spirit, and I said, okay, I'm willing. And I began to open our office up in the morning about 7 o'clock for all the boys to come by. Any of them that wanted to come by, and it wasn't nothing real spiritual, but it was just love on them. A lot of those boys had a lot of needs. We all got needs, and we always prayed every morning. I said, is there anything you want to pray about? And it began to where someone would say, can you meet me at lunch today? Can you come out, let's go behind the house, or can I come by your house this evening?
Wow.
Or give you a call. And it was just one thing after the other. In the last 10 or 12 years of my business, it was really more of a ministry than a business. And God did. He certainly, who he is, and his word never fails. He took care of my business because I took care of his. And that's how, I still have boys today. Had one last week, Gary out of La Follette. Gary called, just wanted to check on me. And he's one of the boys that was in,
Wow.
in the group. Several of those boys ended up, some of them got saved, some of them didn't, and some of them had some kind of tragic deaths, and I've done some of their funerals. But I was real honored with those. They were like family to us, and it's just like me and you and how we've worked through all this. And then my story goes on to where I lost my retirement. I lost everything that we had built in that company as that thing progressed, and it was pretty hard. And done several things. I still had some fiddling stuff I was doing on the side and what have you. And we had built and sold a few houses. I sold a house and had built another one 4 years ago. Well, when I built that house, I found out that's when, I guess I was working on Christy's house then too. And my energy level started dropping, and they found out I had cancer. That's how I found out. I wasn't sick. I just could not hold up. And that was unusual for me. And you always had, your energy is through the roof. Mine's pretty close to that.
Yeah.
Nothing like yours, but especially for my age. And man, I just got where I just wear out. I couldn't hold up. And so I went to the doctor, and she said, your blood count is changing, dropping. Let's give it a month or two and check it again. Went back in another month or two, and it dropped again. So she said, we need to do a stool test at home. And I did, and we found some blood. Went for a colonoscopy, and had a big old tumor. And I was in between my colonoscopies. Back in the old days, they started those things at 5-year intervals. I started at 50. I'd done 50, 55, 60, 65. Not even hardly a minor polyp, microscopic or something they called it, no issues. Well, boy, this time in between, I still had a year. They would sent me from, said, you have no trouble. We'll go from 65 to 75. Well, 4 years ago was when this cancer, and I had a big old cancerous tumor in my colon. So I had a third of my colon took out, and went and done chemotherapy, which made me sicker than a dog, absolutely. I'd go over there on I didn't know anything about chemo or cancer or anything. You go get your surgery done, and then they just direct you to the next doctor, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So they said, we'll set you up for chemo. So I go to chemo, and you go over on a Wednesday, and the room's full of people. I think there's 28 chairs or something. It's full all the time. And they hook you up to this pump. They put a thing poured up in you here and hook you up to a pump. They pump chemo in you for 4 hours. Then they send you home on a pump. And that thing pumps. I think it came off at Saturday at noon. And you had a thing on your arm that is supposed to help you not get sick or something. It didn't seem to help me a lot. But anyway, when that thing changed colors, the whole thing was done. You pull that off. It was a needle. It actually went in your arm. It's a medical deal. And the chemo was pretty rough. I would be sick. I'd get that thing off. And Sunday, probably feel pretty good. Monday, I'd start just like I wanted to throw up, man.
Ugh.
And it was about 3 days of that. Wow. And for me to be in that shape, it's just totally who I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm not a sit in the chair guy.
Yeah.
If I'm home, I want to be outside doing something, you know, cutting a log or doing whatever, working the driveway or building something. And made me sick. So, but they said they got it all. And we thought we were good. But they wanted me to start having scans and blood work and stuff every 6 months. So this past February, a year now,
So it'd been
it'd been
2 years since your cancer.
yeah,
Would be that, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And then
So it was gone, cancer gone, got it?
cancer was gone.
You went 2 years. and then-
Everything was checking out good.
Yeah.
So I go for a scan, and they said, we found 2 suspicious dots in your left lung.
Well,
Yeah. So they went in and done a biopsy. They wanted to do a biopsy. Well, one of them is attached to a main artery that runs down into your lung some way there, and it's cancerous. So they said, yeah, you got cancer. So the cancer doctor that I'm using, he said, well, it's a stage 4. It's in your blood, so it's traveling. And he didn't give me a good report at all. He said, we need to start chemo, need to get you a port as soon as we can. And their diagnosis was, we want to start you on chemo, and we want to give you all you can take. Talk like every day of your life. They said you can do it the rest of your life.
no way.
Yeah, said you'll be doing chemo the rest of your life. And they said that when you get where you can't take any more, his assistant, she called it a chemo vacation. We'll give you a week or 2 off when you get so sick you can't do it anymore, and then you come back. So I said, no, I don't know. We need to think about this. And
Yeah.
then I had talked to you, and I knew how you were. Randy's always been a real health nut, work out, eat right, and all that. And he started saying, man, Wayne, there's other options to this. And he'd looked up something in California, and I don't know what on. Sandy and I started researching it a little bit. So we decided to go the natural healing route on this. And I got with a doctor. Don't need to type the whole thing here,
You're
but this
fine.
is
No, it's
kind of how
not.
my story went.
Yeah.
But I got with a metabolic chiropractic doctor, and they done a lot of extensive blood work, made supplements for me. And then a couple other doctors, Dr. Deb, Dr. B, and I'll tell you about those roads in a minute. But getting back to my job, and I've got to bring God into all this. That's who I am.
That's right. You bring him in
I
here.
can't leave him out, buddy. He's the man.
Bring him in, buddy.
He's the man
Yeah.
in my life.
That's right.
And I wouldn't be doing the right thing if I sat here and didn't tell you that, but he's number
Yeah.
one. And he's always provided for me. But when my retirement went away and I got sick, it's been quite expensive. And insurance doesn't cover anything that you do naturally. They will cover, if I want to go to a chemo, $102 treatment, I can get chemo all day and they'll pay for it. But you go do the good natural stuff that keeps your body healthy while you're healing and get your body where it can heal, they won't pay a dime. And man, I didn't have no job, no income, wasn't able to work a full-time job. Still ain't. I think I can, but I can't.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got a hold of Randy, and we started running this route. And he was in these tiny houses, and he said, "Why don't you bring one of those down to the house, and you can paint it, trim it, and do some things to it, and I'll bring it up here and sell it, and whatever I make on it, I'll give you the money off of it." I said, "Okay." So we bring one down to the house, and me and Sandy light in on that thing. We pick out, she gets colors, and we start painting and trimming, and she's always helped me do all that, and we got it done, and then brought it back up here for Randy to sell. And I came up here, and he said, "I'm not going to give you the money out of that house." I said, "What?" I don't know. You may not want me telling this, but I'll tell it anyway. He said, "No, we'll come up with something different." I said, "Well, what is it?" And he said, "I want to put you on salary." Never forget. I said, "You can't do that. I've got to work for what I get." He said, "No, I want to put you on salary, and I want to take care of you. You've helped me a lot over the years, and we're best friends." And long story short, Randy put me on salary. And I didn't know this till a few months ago. We were sitting in the lunchroom up here one day, and he said, "I'll tell you something you didn't know." I said, "Well, you can probably tell me a lot I don't know." But he said, I asked the girls in the office, what did they think we need to give Wayne for a salary? And he told me the amount. And it's not 1 penny over, it's not 1 penny under. It's to the very dime of what and you had no idea.
Mm-mm.
Randy had no idea what my retirement check was. And the amount he came up with is exactly what my check.
Was gonna be.
Was going to be, had been at one time.
Yeah.
And I can never, ever, every time I come up here, I keep telling him, man, I'm thinking of some ways I can do something to pay you back. He said, you don't have to pay me back. And he knows this is true. Our friendship is such a friendship. I would do it for him in a heartbeat. I'd do the very same thing. And that's just how we are and who we are. But I could not have traveled this road. It's been very expensive. It's thousands of dollars every time you turn around for these treatments. And I just couldn't have done it without Randy. And I want you to know right now, buddy, not because of the money, but I couldn't have done it without the money. But I just wanted the people to know your heart. So many people, I'm up here a lot, and I know what people up here, some of them have said bad stuff about you and everything. It's not true. You've got a heart. You give away to everybody. I could sit here and tell the whole world here a whole list of things that you do every day, Randy, to help people. And you never hear it. That's the world we live in today. We don't hear the good stuff. We need to hear some good news. Everything we hear is bad. So we need some good news, right?
Yeah.
And but anyway, I come up and hang out with the guys here. The panel guys over there have kind of become part of their routine. Ethan and Mike over there, I just love them. I love these guys up here. Randy opened the door and he said, come up here. Actually, there was a guy or two here that just wanted somebody to talk to and somebody to pray with him. He said, come on up here, Wayne, I got a place for you. So I came up, and a lot of these boys, it's all relational, and there's different depths of your love for one another as brothers. But I fell in love with these guys out here, and even the ladies, they're the nicest people. And they're like all of us. We all got something going on. We all need somebody, you know. So it's amazing sometimes just how a hug, man, I love you, the Lord loves you, everything's going to be all right. And some of these boys out here, you know, said, man, will you pray with me? Come and pray with me. And we sneak off somewhere every now and then. The men don't even know about what goes on here. It's not to be broadcast, but it's been quite a blessing for me just to be here. And that's how I try to pay Randy is, man, we cover him with prayer. Sandy, my wife, and I, we're up and pray over Randy in this place and boys and situation and the ladies and stuff. So
it's the only thing that keeps us.
I can't do the dollars, but that's number one. I mean, that's not that I do it, but it's who he is, right? Randy and I were talking this morning about it. I told him my favorite story, if you had my old Bible at home, it's a New Living Bible. My favorite story in there is Jehoshaphat. And when all the three armies came against him, man, he's doomed. You know, I mean, in the natural, you look out and you say, you're done. You just want to throw in the towel. And God said, no, don't be discouraged and don't be afraid. This is my fight. And that's what I want to say today. This is his fight.
That's right.
Don't be discouraged and don't be afraid. And he said, the scripture goes on to say, the very minute he called in the Levites, which were the choir, they're saying the music makers. And it says the very minute, it doesn't say the day the next after that or a week after that. The very minute they began to pray and worship the Lord, that God confounded the enemies. And they began to fight amongst each other. And they slew each other, all of them. Every one of them died.
They killed each other.
Killed each other. So anybody that's your enemy, they better be careful. I had a friend, you remember Joe James from Trinity, the black gentleman that I just loved him.
Loved
over
him,
there.
yeah.
He said once, you better be careful messing with the king's kids. I'll never forget that.
Oh,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, we've traveled. I go to a doctor on my health. I go to a doctor in Roswell, which is next to Atlanta. And I'm doing mistletoe treatments. I done the SOT. They sent my blood to Greece, Italy, and studied it and sent back a antidote in a crystal. They liquefied it and put it in. And it's just now running its course out. It's a 4 to 6 months. So it ran out sometime between December and February. And I do a red light at home. I do a EWAT, which is, Randy got me a oxygen concentrator from a friend of his that was in the business. I do this big mattress full of oxygen on my treadmill, breathing down. I do the sauna. You name it, I'm doing supplements like, and I changed my diet. We brought a nutritionist on board, and for the first year, she put me on a diet of healthy stuff. I haven't had any sugars or anything that turns to sugar now in a year, and I lost right at 50 pounds. I went from a 38 down to a 34.
Wow.
Sometimes they get loose, but I feel absolutely great. People cannot. Everywhere I go, even the doctors say, my doctor from Atlanta called Wednesday, and he said, no need of asking, but how are you feeling? I said, I feel great.
Wow.
If I had new feet, I said, I could walk all day, man. I said, I could work. And he said, that's something else. And Dr. Deb is on board, and man, she has regimented so many things to help me as suggestions to do. And she actually, I think she was the one of them said, I think if you'd went on the chemo at the dosage they wanted you to take, you could probably be on a walker by now.
Oh.
Isn't that something? And I'm out doing whatever. I mean,
Wow.
I've got energy.
You're here walking 10, 12 miles a day.
On Friday, yeah, the doctor down there, I told him, I said, I walk 8 to 10 miles every Friday. He said, you a golfer? I said, no, I'm a sweeper.
Yeah, people come in on Monday morning, they go, how did this place get so clean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, you a golfer? I said, no, I sweep. I go to my buddy's factory, and I said, I sweep. In my watch, it registers your miles. And the day of the flood came up here, you and I were here at the dark that night. I walked 12 miles that day up here. 12 point something miles. But on a normal Friday, by 1 or 2 o'clock, I walked about 8 to 10 miles. So anyway.
I'm just checking the camera.
I've talked and talked and talked.
No,
but,
this is
yeah, but I just.
And you're still on this protocol. This will be for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Of eating right and doing the EWOD and the red light and all this stuff, you know, and I've incorporated a lot of that in my life now, you know, watching you.
Yeah.
And I know you said you just got a report back that you are a massively anti-cancer environment now.
Yeah, they said the reason they think my cancer hasn't traveled because it is in the blood. And actually my doctors in Knoxville that wanted me to do the chemo, they said the next thing it would be in my brain. So we just done a brain scan. We just done a brain, chest, and abdomen, stomach, and nothing. And it's still in the left lung.
Awesome.
So now then, the doctors are focusing on nebulizing some natural, it's all natural things into that is cancer destroying. It's amazing. Number one, God made us to heal. If we get our immune system up where it's supposed to be, we will heal. And they said the reason this thing hasn't traveled is because of how I've done the supplements, I've done the diet, and I do the exercise. I've done everything I'm supposed to do to the best of my ability. And it has made an environment. They said my body was anti-cancer environment.
Wow.
So it's pretty well substantial. Now then, actually starting Saturday, which will be tomorrow, I'll start my first nebulizing. It's being mailed up from Georgia, and then I'm getting 2 from here. And we start doing that into the lung. And we're going to dry that thing up. And I told Sandy the other day, you know, and it had growed some, you know, it grew in size. It grew in size, not a lot, but it grew in size. It kind of knocked the wind out of me because I'm hard as I'm working, I'm expecting a 0. But I told her just this week, I said, I really feel like that I'm really being healed now, that the tide is turning.
They had to tweak it a little bit. Now they'll concentrate on that.
Yeah.
And hopefully.
So very encouraged, but nobody can just believe that I have. And I'm telling you, you don't have to. You know what I told my wife the other day? I said, if you live the same amount of time even, I'm going to way outlive that if I'd have took the chemo. But even if you live the same amount of time, there's no comparison. I haven't been sick. I've had energy through the roof. I felt good. My daughter, who's a nurse, she absolutely can't believe how this thing has worked out for me. But the good news is you're healthy, you feel good, you don't have to go through all that chemical in your body, And even if it was the same amount of days, it's so worth it. But it's not the same amount of days, I don't think. Actually, my doctor in Atlanta, he said, I think you've got 10 to 20 years left.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So I'm so blessed, and I'm so honored to be here with you, Randy, and doing this. And I thank you. Thank all the people up here. I was up here for the when they built the 50 homes for the people over here that their homes got flooded away. And Randy said something that day about our friendship, and I'm so thankful for the guys up here. They've made me. I've come into this whole organization here, and everybody here has made me feel so much a part of just being this. You come in and you're not like a stranger. Hey, Wayne, come here. I want to see you a minute, you know. And then and how you've blessed me. And I've got another brother that he's prayed for me probably 500 times. He prayed for me twice a day. My phone beeps every day, and just things like that. And, but God has been so good, buddy. And I just want people to know about ITH and Incredible Tiny Homes and all that Randy's done. And I'm up here enough to know of all the negative stuff that goes on, and it's just not fair. You don't hear, in the world we're in today, we don't hear the good stuff. We need some good stuff.
Yeah.
Man, there's negative everywhere, there's darkness everywhere if you want it, but let's pull out some good things.
Yeah.
And Randy Jones, you've done a lot of good things. And you still are. Yeah. And you're my friend, and I'm honored. I guess I've talked the horns off the goat. But
No, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
When I don't know who will view this podcast or the show here, but when people watch YouTube or see you and they don't know who we are, and they see maybe a big company, it's not really big, but they see it is, we're building these tiny homes. And I think, and it's natural, people forget that we're just real people. That we're just normal people. And I try to remind people on the videos that, I'm just like your son or your brother, or your, people that your husband, that we've worked all our life, physically.
Yeah.
And to do what we do here, I look at what this, and I look and like, man, all I did was, I didn't say no to anybody. I just kept building homes for people. Yeah. And it's been a hard road. We've not made the money that we should have made, probably, but we're still rolling, we're still going, we're still making it happen. And it's a hard road to make this work. And because I'm so unconventional, I think it just doesn't resonate with everybody.
Yeah.
And when I have to make decisions of firing somebody or letting them go or saying no to somebody, there's been some sort of relationship that these people have done in their mind with me, and they have felt like I've betrayed or broke their heart when I've had to let them go, fire them, or tell them, no, you can't do that. Yeah. And that's with customers and with certain people that have worked here. And those are the people that are trying to, protest and bring accusations to me that are just not true. Yeah. And so I've had to learn to do that, because I'm just a normal guy. I build homes. I'm not in the business world, and I wasn't raised in the business. I'm a builder. I'm a carpenter, and so I'm a guy that wants people to like me. And I remember when I did Brothers Cove, I told them, I said, I didn't have a contract. I had a handshake.
How about that?
And I told him, I said, listen, I don't want a contract, because if you don't want the house, I don't want you buying it.
Right.
I'm going to build it. If you like it, you buy it. If you don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
I said, it's more to me that we have a good relationship than to sell you this home. Yeah. I said, I can't sleep at night knowing you don't want something about me.
Right.
And I built 73 homes, and all of them love me.
Yeah.
But I didn't force nothing on them.
Right.
And I wanted to run this company like that. But when you deal with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, it's hard to keep that relationship like that.
It is.
And so because I do so things unconventionally, like building these communities without a line of credit, and I need their money to build it, it gives them this sense of ownership that they, and I understand this ownership of saying, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why is it taking so long? And then it brings a lot of question. And then you get people that I've had to really let fire or let go because of insubordination or whatever it was. And then they want to bring the stink and other things. And it just starts clouding a lot of things. But what I've had to learn to do is from you and so many people, Amanda and everybody, we realize that there's 90% or more that people know and everybody here that we're on a track of positive and good stuff. And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
To allow anything else to hinder that is like a slap in the face of the people that really love and care about what we're doing, Right. And in the end of this, and I know this is a cliche, because when somebody says to me, it's not the money, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's always about money.
Yeah, it is.
It's about money with your paycheck, your Social Security, your retirement, your check that you get from wherever you're working. It's about money because we got to pay for it.
Yeah.
But it is not about money when it's the reason I'm in this business. I still live in my little bitty tiny house, 16-foot home, and I don't care to ever change.
Yeah.
I don't care to do that. I don't need any other things. And people might say they don't believe, but anyway, it doesn't matter. My heart is how I'm on it. I love this journey.
Yeah.
Having an opportunity of being able to help you in your journey and what happened to you is, to me, I'm honored to be able to think that we had the ability to help you.
Yeah.
And the only reason I had that ability is because people have believed me and bought homes from me.
Yeah.
And it's all about this big circle.
Yeah, it is.
They're helping me, I'm helping you, and then you're helping them right back by encouraging them, and you're living proof by what they have believed in us, in my character of standing behind a product, staying behind a business as best I possibly can.
Yeah, I know it.
And then you being benefited from that. And it's not just you.
I know.
There's so many other people are benefiting from this company that has been so massive. We did them 50 homes in North Carolina. We just broke even.
Yeah.
We had to work overtime, which increased our manpower, our labor costs, and we didn't make any money.
Yeah.
But it was good to be able to get that out and get it gone and get it going.
Yeah.
We can't keep doing that. I called those. I said, listen, I got to have a little bit more money to make this thing happen. We're hopefully we'll get another order to do this, like in Kentucky. We're thinking, but in the end, we're all working.
Yeah.
We're all still living and making it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till the mountain of Buffalo Creek's open. We got more people that'll participate, and their lives will change by living here and being happy. And
I think about, as you tell me all that, and I sit here and soak it in and listen to it, about it all goes back to, it says, if you really are who you say we are as Christians, you're your brother's keeper.
Yeah.
That's what it says. You're your brother's keeper. It says to love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
And it says to forgive. And I sit here before the Lord today, and I'm around you a lot, and I don't ever hear you cussing and fussing and hollering at people that have done you wrong or try to do you wrong. I don't. And that speaks a lot of volume. So there's a peace, if we will allow a peace of God to come into our life, He'll bring it.
Yeah.
But it can't be kept out by attitude. Even the doctors in the natural, every doctor I've had said a big part of what you're going to do with cancer is going to be in your attitude.
Wow.
Yep. How you take this thing on. And that's exactly, you've got an attitude. When God gave away attitudes, He gave you two. He blessed you with two of a lot of things.
Aww.
So you're going to do okay. This has been a battle. But we have to go through the hard times.
All of us do.
Yeah.
You know, people watching are going through things.
Yeah.
You know.
I always like that. We walk through. I love that 23rd Psalm. It says, we're walking through the valley. I ain't putting up a tent there. I ain't building a house there. I'm walking through. He's walking with me.
That's right.
And we're going to the other side, right?
You're moving.
We're moving. We're getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, he said, God is love, and he is. And love is the greatest. He said, but if you get into the old scriptures, he was pretty rough sometimes, buddy. When the enemy came at him, he took him out.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that's God's call. We let him fight our battles. But
Yeah.
you've been such a wonderful friend to me. And other people, I think about Cece that just passed away with cancer and how you blessed her, Randy.
Oh.
And I could name names after names here, these boys, of how you just poured out into their life. Everything from emotional help to physical help, monies, and gave them things to help their livelihood, and they love you for that. And so I thank you. I'm honored. I appreciate you letting me come up here and be part of this. It's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
It's a big deal for me to have, at my age, a place, whether I had the cancer going or whether I didn't, I'd want to come and be involved in something somewhere. That's just who I am. I can't just wander around sitting down. And you've allowed me to come up here and you give me the run of this place.
Yeah.
You said come up and just do whatever you want to
whatever
do.
you need to do.
Actually, he said, if you come up, I'm going to get you a recliner and a cigar. Well, I don't smoke. I told him I'd take the recliner. Yeah. But I just love being able to come up here and hang out with these folks here, and it's awesome. So thank you so much.
I knew when you were a part of the team, I said, when you come up here, these guys are going to fall in love with you just like I did 39 years ago. And they have. And that's why they look at you, and when you walk past them, they feel the peace, and they feel something about that guy I just want to go sit next to. I remember my dad growing up, and he didn't go to church or nothing like that. And he was from Kentucky, Dad, and he was and he was a little rough around the edges, and mom didn't like him at all, and but I remember as a kid, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, remember him coming in the house and sitting in his lazy boy chair, and he always had a quart of beer, Budweiser, coming in. He'd have that quart of beer, and he smoked cigarettes then too,
Yeah.
And you know what? I'd crawl up in his lap.
Wow. How about that?
And
man. Yeah. Wow. You don't forget things like that. Yeah.
just the smell of that beer and cigarettes and steel mill and dirt on him.
Yeah.
I thought, man, God, sorry. I didn't mean to even think of that. And I was like, I felt secure.
Yeah.
Even though he might get a little drunk and I get scared, but he was like secure. And it was like that smell of a man. And I was drawn to that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a man. I wanted to have a little boy.
Yeah.
And
that's good. I mean,
yeah. And he would just, anyway, just that. And that's what these guys feel when you're here.
Well,
they want to crawl up in your lap.
Man. Well.
And be loved.
I want to love on them.
Yeah, they want that. Guys don't show that. They don't say it, but oh my God, the wars that these boys go through.
I know it.
The marriages and their kids and the bills and the cars breaking down and the life and it's just so much in their life. A boy come to me yesterday, he said, hey, they're throwing me out of my rental house, man. What can you do to help me? And I said, by God, I'm going to do whatever I can to help you, man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see what we can do, and he's got 2 kids, and
I know it.
I'm giving him a car, and I'm like, well,
it's kind of an everyday story here.
It's every day, yeah. And we got to, and I want to be more prepared.
Yeah.
For the people that are here,
You've been faithful, and they appreciate it. These guys absolutely love you. I'm around all the time, and I know. So they love you.
And I want to, and this podcast is about two guys that fell in love with each other 39 years ago, miraculously from the Spirit.
Yeah.
You know, and I just wanted to bring you guys an encouragement of how we're still buddies and how the trials and tribulations that we've been through have been victorious, and how he's overcome cancer and how he's fighting it, and how, just like his whole story you heard. And we are not ignorant to your wars and your fights and struggles that you're going through.
Yeah.
But that's part of life. I've been watching this show on Netflix, and man, it's it's about life and stuff. And this one guy, and I'd mentioned this on a video, and I found it so true. And it sounds morbid, but this is how I look at life. They said, his boy said, well, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to have a happy life. And his dad looked at him and he said, who told you that you deserve to be happy? Who told you that life, you deserved a happy life, or you deserved anything in this world?
Yeah.
That's a lie, son.
Man.
And how I got that is that, he said 80% of this world is going to be hard.
Yeah.
But it's our mental ability to not allow that to give us a negative attitude.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard. Don't wake up disappointed because something hurts on you.
Yeah.
Or you don't have the money to buy something, or it's too cold, or it's too hot, or it's too something, or you're lonely, or too something.
Yeah.
It's always going to be something.
Yeah.
So 80% of your life is going to be hard.
Yeah.
So deal with it.
Yeah.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
And say, this is the way it is. And this is what I do. I bring it in and I embrace it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And you know what I do? I go back and I swear every morning, I think I'm grateful for? That I still can see.
Yeah.
I can still go to the doorknob and look at it and open it up. I'm grateful that I can still walk.
Yeah.
And I can hear. Those are the three things that I'm grateful for. And I'm like, you know what? I got it going on.
Yeah.
No matter whatever happens,
Yeah.
I got it going on right now. And so I try to stay in a grateful frame of mind, and I think that's what, no matter what hits me.
Right.
And I remember my dad said, 100 years from now, nobody's ever going to know about it.
No.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll choose all day long today, all day tomorrow, the choices we make. And we're going to go through them. So why not choose to go through them
with a smile?
Yeah. We'll go down fighting with a smile.
Yeah. And when you pass,
Yeah.
and when I pass,
Yeah.
that red light down the street
Yeah.
still turns red and green.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Yeah.
The sun still comes
Darn
up.
things won't outlive us.
Nobody's gonna do. The world keeps going.
That's right.
And that's with you all too. You know how it is. Life has to go on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
embrace who we are,
Yeah.
and grab a hold of your faith, or whatever it might be that you need to give you encouragement through this world. And I know we've embraced in our faith to give us. We've chosen to believe.
That's right.
That's our choice to believe, and it has given me the ability to have peace in a storm.
That's
And
right.
I know I love that song, peace like a river
Yeah.
attendeth my way.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that, and that's where I go to, is there's peace like a river, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was headed up here one morning across the river bridge, and then when I got here, I captured you in your office and said, "Shut the door. I got this song you got to hear."
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
It was that song.
He takes you above the storm,
Yeah.
The storm's still going, but I'm going to give you a peace and take you above the storm.
Got to be there.
So I can look down and see the storm going, but I'm not in it.
Yeah.
I'm in it, but I'm not in it.
Ugh.
So anyway, maybe one day we can do a podcast too when we get through all these things that's going on, and tell them some of the good stuff. We could write a book.
Oh
on,
Lord, we've had some good times.
And if we laughed and carried on,
we have.
some
We've
times,
had.
and some of it we probably couldn't tell, but most of it we could.
It's been yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate you and love you, Randy.
Oh man, I love you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every day, the older we get, it's more intensified. And I love it. I love this walk.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy us a mule and come up here and we'll start logging.
Lord, wouldn't that
When
be
you get
fun?
caught up, we'll get some logs.
Get
off
us
it.
a sawmill and go at
There
it.
you go.
We got the logs piled.
All right.
All right, everybody. I hope this encouraged you. Y'all have a great day,
Yeah.
and give us a call, give us a text, whatever you think. All right, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.